Chosen one, pause right here, don't scroll, don't move, because you're about to step into a moment that heaven orchestrated long before you even woke up today. And if your spirit feels a sudden shift, that's because God is reaching for you right now in a way that is rare, intentional, and deeply personal. And before we go any deeper, I need you to write, "I received this," in the comments, not as a routine action, not as a trend, but as a spiritual agreement, a prophetic yes, a sign to heaven that you are listening with your spirit and not just your eyes, because this message carries weight, revelation, and timing, and the fact that you, of all people, are hearing it in this exact moment is the first confirmation that God is revealing something that has been hidden for far too long. Chosen one, you have felt something in your spirit for months, maybe even years, a quiet pressure, a holy unrest, a sense that something bigger, something divine, something you can't quite explain has been building beneath the surface of your life, and you haven't had the words for it, but God did, and He waited until now to speak because you finally reached the place where you could hear Him without the noise of people, without the distractions of your past, and without the fear that used to sabotage your growth, and that alone is proof that you've matured spiritually in ways even you haven't fully acknowledged. There's a reason your journey has been heavier lately, a reason you've been seeing signs, feeling spiritual sensitivity, noticing strange moments of déjà vu, and sensing a presence around you, because heaven has been closer than ever, like a divine surveillance, watching over you, shielding you, preparing you, and yes, even hiding certain things from you until your spirit was strong enough not to mishandle them. The loneliness you felt? That wasn't punishment. That was protection. The doors that wouldn't open? That wasn't rejection. That was redirection. The people God removed? That wasn't loss. That was preservation. Comment: Lord, I trust your timing. If this is already touching your spirit. You've walked through a season where nothing made sense, where prayers felt delayed, where answers seemed silent, and where God felt distant even though He wasn't. But hear me, heaven was not ignoring you. God was not punishing you. He was building you, layer by layer, strengthening muscles in your spirit you didn't know you had, because what He is about to reveal requires a level of stability, discernment, and boldness that only comes through pressure, pruning, and spiritual stretching. And whether you realize it or not, you passed tests that nobody saw, you overcame battles that nobody celebrated, and you held on during moments that would have broken the average person. Chosen one, this message is hitting your spirit so hard because you've been sensing this shift but couldn't articulate it. You've been feeling God tug at your heart in strange ways, waking you up spiritually, making you pay attention to things that never used to matter, pulling you away from certain people, guiding you toward quietness, urging you to withdraw, reflect, and listen. This wasn't isolation, it was consecration. God set you apart because He's about to set you ahead. And when God hides you, it's never to diminish you, it's to develop you. Right now, as you listen, your spirit feels this almost magnetic pull, a recognition, because deep down you know this is not a random message, not a coincidence, not an algorithm. This is a divine appointment, a moment heaven scheduled with your name on it. And if you've been feeling a mix of weariness and expectation, heaviness and hope, confusion and clarity all at once, that's confirmation that the hidden season is ending, and what's been concealed is about to unfold. Chosen one, there are prayers you prayed years ago, quiet prayers whispered in exhaustion, in frustration, in confusion, in tears, that you thought heaven overlooked, but God never ignores a heart that cries sincerely, and what you thought was silence was actually strategy, because God does not waste words and He does not delay without purpose. And the reason certain blessings didn't show up when you expected them is because they would have overwhelmed you, distracted you, or attached you to the wrong people had they arrived too soon. You see, God doesn't deny your promises, He protects them. And sometimes He protects you from the very things you're asking for until you're ready to receive them without sabotaging your own destiny. That's why the season felt long. That's why the waiting felt endless. That's why doors stayed closed no matter how much you knocked. It wasn't because God forgot you. It was because He had to strengthen you spiritually before He strengthened your circumstances. And deep down, you know this is true. You've changed. You think differently. You see differently. You move differently. And the old version of you couldn't handle what the new version of you is being prepared for right now. Comment: I'm being prepared. If you feel that truth in your spirit. Chosen one, the hidden thing God is revealing in this season isn't just a breakthrough you can touch, it's an identity you can carry. He's revealing the authority He placed inside you long before the world ever tried to label you. You've been shrinking yourself for too long, doubting yourself for too long, apologizing for your gifts for too long. But God is awakening something within you, a spiritual boldness, a divine confidence, a quiet strength that doesn't need external validation to move forward. He's exposing who you truly are, not who life conditioned you to be. That's why you've felt moments of sudden clarity out of nowhere. That's why you've had emotional waves you couldn't explain. That's why certain people started falling away effortlessly. You're stepping into alignment with the real you, the chosen version of you, and everything that doesn't match that identity is being stripped away. Chosen one, God says this: you no longer need people to see your value before you walk in it. This is the season where He teaches you to stand tall even when no one applauds. This is the season where He shows you how to move by revelation, not recognition. Because when God gets ready to elevate a chosen one, He first removes the need for human approval. That's why you've been misunderstood lately. That's why your growth made some people uncomfortable. That's why spiritual warfare intensified right before peace arrived. Resistance is proof that heaven is releasing something the enemy hoped you'd never receive. And hear this clearly: what's coming next will not require force, it will require faith. You won't have to kick down doors. Doors will open because of the oil on your life. You won't have to chase opportunities. Opportunities will locate you because heaven has your name in rotation. There are rooms being prepared for you, conversations happening about you, blessings traveling toward you even now. And when those doors open, some people will be shocked, not because you didn't deserve it, but because God elevated you in silence. Comment: no weapon formed against me. If you know you've survived battles that were meant to take you out. Chosen one, you have been walking through a divine delay, not a denial, and in this delay, God has been shaping your patience, your character, your endurance, and your ability to discern what is for you and what is not. And now that the preparation is complete, heaven is releasing the reveal, not the full picture all at once, but enough light for your next step, enough clarity for your next move, and enough peace to quiet the storms around you. Chosen one, God says the hidden season is ending, but understand this clearly: the unveiling will not arrive with noise, chaos, or drama, because God does His most powerful work quietly, and what He is revealing now will not look like revenge. It will look like peace, stability, wisdom, and unshakable clarity. And that's how you'll know it's Him, because the old you wanted to be seen, but the refined you only wants to be aligned. And heaven trusts you now because you no longer need to explain yourself to people who never carried your burden or fought your battles in prayer. There were moments when you wanted God to expose the truth, to show others who was wrong and who was right, to reveal what was hidden in plain sight. But God restrained the reveal because your heart needed healing before your hands received authority. And had He exposed everything too soon, it would have hardened you instead of elevating you. But now your spirit is clean, your motives are pure, and your posture is humble. And that is why God says, now you are ready. Ready not because life is perfect, but because your faith no longer depends on outcomes, applause, or human approval. Comment: I trust your process. If you understand this season shaped you, not broke you. Chosen one, what God is uncovering is not just a blessing, it's influence. Not loud influence, not forced influence, but the kind that shifts atmospheres when you enter a room, the kind that brings calm where there was confusion, the kind that carries weight without raising its voice. This is why you were trained in silence. This is why your prayers deepened. This is why distractions were removed. God was sharpening your discernment so you could recognize divine opportunities without falling for counterfeit ones. And now, you'll begin to notice that decisions feel clearer, boundaries feel stronger, and your spirit feels settled in ways it never did before. You are stepping into a season where you won't have to defend yourself. God will do it for you. Conversations will end without explanation. Relationships will shift without confrontation. Doors will close without regret. And doors you didn't even knock on will open naturally. This is divine alignment, and it feels different because there's no anxiety attached to it. You're no longer rushing. You're no longer proving. You're no longer begging. You're moving with wisdom, patience, and authority. Comment: I move with God. If you feel that inner steadiness growing within you. Chosen one, God had to train you to endure misunderstanding without becoming bitter, because bitterness disqualifies people from stewardship, and God is entrusting you with more than blessings. He's entrusting you with people, purpose, and responsibility. This is why He taught you how to remain kind while being misunderstood, how to remain faithful while being overlooked, and how to remain obedient while being uncertain. You learned how to forgive quietly, pray sincerely, and wait patiently, and heaven took notes. Now God says the reveal will come in layers, not all at once, because revelation is progressive, and each step will require obedience before the next one appears. But don't fear that, you won't miss it. When God reveals something meant for you, it comes with confirmation, peace, and clarity. You won't have to chase it. You won't have to manipulate it. You'll simply recognize it. Chosen one, you were hidden because you were valuable, not because you were forgotten. And now, as God begins to uncover what He protected, you'll realize that everything you endured was preparation for the weight of what you're about to carry. Chosen one, a new clarity is settling over your life, and it didn't arrive suddenly. It grew quietly, line upon line, prayer upon prayer, trial upon trial, and now you're beginning to notice that confusion no longer has the same power over you, because discernment has been sharpened through experience, through waiting, through endurance, and through the gentle guidance of the Holy Spirit. And this is why decisions that once felt overwhelming now feel simple, and choices that once drained you now feel obvious, because God has trained your spirit to recognize truth without chaos. You are stepping into a season where emotional reactions are being replaced by spiritual responses, and this shift is subtle but powerful, because it means you're no longer moved by urgency, you're moved by wisdom. And this is where many people around you will begin to notice something different about you, even if they can't explain it, because there's a calm authority resting on your life now, a steadiness that doesn't come from control, but from trust in Jesus, and that peace you carry will speak louder than any defense you could ever make. Comment: I walk in discernment. If you feel that calm replacing old anxiety. Chosen one, God says this clarity is a gift, but it's also a responsibility. Because when He sharpens your discernment, He expects you to steward it well, and that means not reacting to every opinion, not engaging in every battle, and not explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you, because silence, when guided by wisdom, becomes a shield, and restraint becomes strength. And you'll find that walking away in peace is far more powerful than staying to prove a point. There will be moments in this season where God reveals the true nature of people, situations, and opportunities, not to hurt you, but to protect you, and what once confused you will suddenly make sense, because the fog is lifting, and you'll see why certain relationships couldn't follow you forward, why certain doors never opened, and why certain prayers were answered with wait, and instead of pain, there will be gratitude, because clarity always brings peace when your heart is healed. Comment: Thank you, Lord. If you're starting to understand what God was doing all along. Chosen one, you are being prepared to walk with a quiet authority that doesn't announce itself, but it is felt, and people will begin to trust your counsel, seek your wisdom, and feel safe in your presence, not because you have all the answers, but because you know the one who does. And this is how God positions chosen ones, as beacons of stability in uncertain times, as voices of peace in noisy seasons, and as examples of faithfulness when others are losing hope. God says what was hidden from you was hidden for you, and now that it's being revealed, He is instructing you to guard it carefully, to move slowly, and to remain prayerful, because not everything that feels good is God, and not everything that looks right is aligned, and discernment will be your greatest protection in this next chapter, and when God orders your steps, He also orders your pace. Comment: My steps are ordered. If you understand that timing is part of obedience. Chosen one, this clarity marks a turning point, because from this place forward, You'll no longer second-guess what God has already confirmed, and the peace you carry will become evidence of the work He's completed in you. And this season will feel different, not louder, not faster, but deeper, stronger, and more secure, because you are finally walking in alignment, not anxiety. Chosen one, the enemy tried to exhaust you through time, delay, and repetition, hoping that waiting would wear down your faith. But what he meant to drain you, God used to develop endurance, discernment, and depth. And now you are stepping into a season where striving is being replaced by alignment, and effort is being replaced by grace. And this shift feels unfamiliar at first because you're used to fighting for everything. But God is teaching you how to rest in obedience, because when He carries the weight, you no longer have to. You will notice that things begin to move with less resistance than before, not because life is suddenly easy, but because you are no longer out of position. And when you are aligned with God's will, doors don't require force, they respond to favor. And what once demanded constant prayer and persistence will now flow through divine timing. And this is how you'll know you've entered a new season, because peace will accompany progress, not pressure. Comment: I receive His grace. If you feel this release in your spirit, chosen one, your endurance has become your testimony, and without even realizing it, your life has been preaching louder than words ever could, because people have watched you survive loss without losing faith, disappointment without becoming bitter, and delay without giving up. And in this next season, God will use your journey to strengthen others who are tired, discouraged, and questioning whether obedience is still worth it. And you won't have to chase influence. Your consistency will speak for you. There are people assigned to your story, people who will find hope not in your perfection, but in your perseverance. And God is positioning you to minister without striving, to lead without forcing, and to serve without burnout, because He knows you've already carried heavy burdens alone, and now He's teaching you how to carry purpose with Him, not by yourself. Comment: God is faithful. If you know He sustained you when you could have given up. Chosen one, hear this clearly: you are not late, you are not behind, and you are not forgotten. Heaven's calendar does not operate by human pressure, and what looks delayed to others was perfectly timed by God, and soon, things will unfold in such a way that you'll see how every closed door redirected you, every no protected you, and every waiting season refined you, and instead of resentment, you'll feel gratitude, because clarity always follows faithfulness. Those who doubted you, dismissed you, or underestimated your calling will not need an explanation, because God's work in your life will speak for itself. And this is not a season for proving anything, it's a season for stewarding what God has entrusted to you, with humility, gratitude, and wisdom. And as you move forward, remember this: your greatest victories will come quietly, your deepest joy will come from obedience, and your strongest confidence will come from knowing that God never left you, not for a moment. As this message reaches you, God is sealing something in the Spirit, a quiet confirmation that you are covered, chosen, and carried, and the anxiety that's been lingering will begin to lift, because clarity is replacing confusion, and peace is replacing pressure, and you'll notice doors closing without pain and others opening without struggle. And this is how you'll know it's God, because what He ordains comes with peace, not panic. Stay grounded in prayer, stay rooted in Scripture, and stay humble in victory, because this season will require discernment more than excitement, and obedience more than announcements, and type: I walk by faith. If you're committed to moving forward God's way, not your own, I declare over you right now that what has been hidden is being revealed at the right time, in the right way, and for the right purpose, that every delayed promise will make sense, every closed door will feel like protection, and every tear you cried in private has been counted by God. And I declare that you will walk into this next season with peace, authority, and unshakable faith, knowing that Jesus Himself goes before you, stands beside you, and covers you from behind. And if this word spoke directly to your life, stay connected, subscribe so you don't miss what God is releasing next. And if you feel led and want to support this ministry, you can do so gently through Super Thanks or the link below. But most of all, carry this word with you. Live it out quietly, and remember, you were chosen for such a time as this.